Okay, now that we have our robot built, let's write a simple program for it that will move the motors for 1 second and then stop them. So the way to do that is to say create a new file, and now we have to define where the motors are plugged in. So we use the motor and sensor setup button in the toolbar. And we get this form where we fill in the motors. So we'll name the first one in port 1 left motor. And that's a VEX 393 motor. And we'll name the one, and that's going to be on the left side. And then we'll name the one in port 10 right motor. And that's a VEX 393 motor also. And we'll tell it that it's the right motor. Okay? And the left motor needs to be reversed because the motors are on opposite sides of the robot, and one is facing one way, one is facing the other way. So when one turns clockwise, the other one needs to turn counterclockwise. So we've now set up the motors, and now we can just write a program. So the way you do that is, it's very simple. You just say motor, and then left motor, in brackets, equals 127. 127 is full speed forward for the motor. And then we'll do the same for the right motor. So we say motor, open bracket, right motor, then a close bracket, equals 127, and a semicolon. The semicolon ends the line, the instruction to the robot. And then we'll just delay. So we can do a delay for 1,000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. So we say delay, open parentheses, 1,000, close parentheses, and then a semicolon. And then we want to stop the motors. So the motors have been going full speed, that's 127. We've just waited around for 1 second to go by, and now we have to stop them. So motor, left motor, equals 0. And motor, right motor, equals 0. So now they're both stopped. And this is the whole program. So to get this to work, we have to just set up a few things first for our project. The first thing is under robot, we have to set the communications mode to USB only. The compiler target has to be a physical robot because we're loading the program into a real robot. The platform type is VEX 2.0 Cortex. Okay, it's not VEXIQ. VEXIQ is a different type of robot that we don't have. So we are doing VEX 2.0 Cortex here, and it will say VEX 2.0 Cortex up here. Both of these should be unchecked. We're not using natural language or natural language PLTW. So these should not have check marks next to them. If they do, just click on it, and then it will and then we'll add a check mark. So I'm going to click it again to get rid of the check mark. Okay, and that is most of it. Let's see. That's the platform type, and that's it. Oh, and you need to download firmware. So you have to automatically update the VEX Cortex. And you just have to do this one time, because when you first get this and you plug it in, it's kind of fresh, and it doesn't have code in it to be able to run Robot C programs. So so we just do automatically update VEX Cortex and say OK. Oh, and it says it's up to date because I already did it. But if on yours it may not be up to date yet. And now we can just download the program to the robot by clicking Download to Robot. So we have to save it. So we'll just call it Brad. That's my name. And I'll just save it. And now it's going to download the program to the robot. So it just downloaded it. We're waiting for it to start up. And now there's a start button here that you can press. So when you press it, you'll see the motors both spin forward for 1 second, and then they stop. So every time I press it, that's what happens. And that's how to download a simple program to the robot. And in the next programming lesson, we'll talk a lot more about how this works and what everything really means. But this is just something to get you started so you can play with your new robot and download your own programs. So have fun with it, and let us know if you have questions.